I think what people see on the outside is that drama happens, I apologize or don't, I make a statement or don't, rinse and repeat. But all of this shit that is just internet drama to everybody else has like real consequences to me and the people around me. I had my autonomy and my voice completely stripped from me time and time again, and I couldn't find an escape. I couldn't find an answer. I tried ignoring it. It got worse. I tried responding politically and politely, and it got worse. I tried talking directly to the people who painted a target on my back, and it got worse. I tried just laying it all out, being completely honest and showing people how badly broken I was, and it got worse. I tried inviting the people who gaslighted, harassed, mocked, and abused me into my home to have a face-to-face conversation, and it got worse. My life every single day for the last few years has just been people using me as they please and just constantly being forced to relive trauma and revisit memories from people that I've been trying so hard to forget and move on from, but won't fucking stop talking about me.
Hello my gorgeous people, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so very much for clicking on today's video. I have not done a sit down video in a hot little minute, so if the audio or the lighting or anything is off, let me know in the comments down below and we will work on it for the next one. With that being said, I do want to talk about Gabbie Hanna today, and yes, I know you guys are probably really tired of talking about her or hearing about her, and look, I get it. I really do get it, but at the same time, with this new series that came out, I told myself I'm going to go into this with an open mind. I'm not going to watch this as Gabbie Hanna, the character. I want to watch this person to person and really try to understand why she does the things she does. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend that you do the same thing because it really does make a huge difference. So jumping into this, I think one thing that we can all agree on is that Gabbie Hanna is probably one of the most hated people on the internet. And honestly, there are dozens upon dozens of reasons to dislike Gabbie Hanna. So you have options. Go pick you one. But the hard part is to try to dig past all of that and find out the reason why Gabbie Hanna has done the things she's done, why Gabbie Hanna acts the way she does, and her behavior is so questionable. And that is what I really wanted to try to do with this series. I want to make it very clear that I am not sitting here and saying that Gabbie Hanna is a saint. I'm also not saying that she is an innocent person. She has done a lot of really wrong things. But at the end of the day, Gabbie Hanna is human. She is a human being who has feelings and emotions, and she's an imperfect person just like the rest of us. And I do think from a viewer point of view, we sometimes forget that these are actual people. They're not just characters, they are people, and we don't really even know them. Literally only know what they choose to show us. So of course that makes it even more questionable when someone is being so crazy on the internet, because you're like, why do these people act this way? Why is this person doing this? And trust me, I get it. I've been doing the same thing with Gabbie for the last 2 years, just trying to really understand why she does what she does. And this series opened up a door to kind of answer some of that for us. Gabbie kicked all of this off with an episode 0. It was literally like a 20-minute trailer, uncut scene of the Burnout with Gabbie Hanna podcast with Trisha Paytas. If you guys remember, this was a really uncomfortable episode. Gabbie invited her there to try to hold her accountable and have a conversation with her. And Trisha is so closed-minded and guarded at the same time. These two are a lot alike, you guys, honestly, that it just wasn't a good equation. It did not go well. Honestly, my thoughts on this part of the series is very short and sweet. I do believe that Gabbie thought they were friends, okay? And I think that Trisha honestly thought she was just being baseline friendly. We have seen Trisha do this before. She calls people her bestie when they're not really. She's very nice and very bubbly towards everyone. It's a part of her personality and a part of her character. Gabbie has mentioned on many occasions, especially in this series, that she had a hard time making real life friends. So she made a lot of friends online and they became her real life friends. I said this before in a previous live, but I am going to say it again. If you work on social media, it is definitely super important that you keep it very professional. You have to look at your job as a job. This is your work. So any relationships you make online, there has to be some kind of professionalism there, and you cannot cross those boundaries into personal life or anything like that, because that's when things get really nasty and really just off the wall. As we can see here with Gabbie and Trisha, there was some boundaries crossed, and Gabbie has been in these situations a lot of times. It takes a long time to build trust with people online because you don't really know them. So if you go into it thinking this is my friend, and you open up and you tell them all of your personal stuff, and then everything goes south, this person can literally ruin your reputation and spread all kinds of lies about you, because that's what people do at the end of the day when they get mad. Technically, I'm on neutral ground here, but I can see why Gabbie was so upset by all of this, and I also can see how this did affect Gabbie in a negative way. Moving on from the Trisha stuff, because honestly, it's like beating a dead horse at this point. I'm over it, whatever. They were friends, they weren't friends. It doesn't really even matter. The only context here that I think does matter is this is one out of like 1,000 things that really has hurt Gabbie's reputation in a bad way. The second video that I myself found to be extremely interesting, and I think that it gives us a good opportunity to really humanize Gabbie Hanna and not look at her as a character, but actually as a human being. In this video, she talks about a lot of really personal stuff that I can relate to and sympathize with. And if that makes me a horrible person for being able to sympathize with her as a human being, then so be it. I think the saddest part about the internet and the way that things work on the internet is it's like once somebody gets targeted as this horrible person who does all these horrible things, anyone tries to sympathize with them or look at them as just a normal person, they get hate for that. There's so much negativity and hate circulated around Gabbie Hanna and just her brand in general that if you say one thing nice about her or in support of her, you get like 40,000 hate comments telling you why you're a horrible person for supporting Gabbie Hanna. And that is not what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to make a point in the fact that she is a human being who has feelings and makes mistakes. And honestly, all of us can sit here and judge and say, hey, we would have done things differently. But unless we're in that position, how can we say what we would do? We really do not know. We don't have millions and millions of people watching our every little move, picking apart every little thing about us. So it's easy to sit back and critique and you know, give advice and all of these things. But when you're in the moment and actually dealing with it, I'm sure it's a lot more difficult, especially when you have millions and millions of different people going off different narratives and spinning different stories and never knowing what the truth is. She talks about how the internet has really changed her a lot, and there has been times within her career here on social media where she herself did not know who she was, and she was just kind of going on a whim. Gabbie Hanna is a meme, and she is a hated person on the internet. The more you bash her and the more you say things about her erratic behavior, the more clicks and views you get. And unfortunately, that is what motivates the internet the most. Really sad part in this video that just kind of breaks my heart is the fact that her and Peyton have made the decision to break up. They are still friends, but she does talk about how being in the spotlight really did affect Peyton and his whole family, which is so sad because this is someone who was very private. He did not talk about his life much. He was not on the internet much, but he supported Gabbie because he loved her. See that he got doxxed and harassed and hated, and his family got doxxed, and all these personal people in Gabbie's life got dragged into this stuff. It's really sad and it breaks my heart, and it gives you a really good bird's eye view of what Gabbie and her family and her personal friends have had to deal with for years. They had to make a mutual agreement that she loves Peyton enough to let him go. He doesn't deserve to have to go through this and be miserable, because she says in that video, it was to the point where he was miserable. He was unhappy and he was scared and worried for his family. And All of these things are just so sad to me. One part where Gabbie says, you know, Peyton did not choose this life. She did. And in the time, maybe she didn't realize that it was going to be like this, but she is the one who chooses to stay on the internet. She is the one who chooses to continue fighting, because that is what she's doing. At the end of the day, you guys, love her or hate her, she's still here and she's still fighting. And even though it may look insane and it may make her look worse, she's not gone yet. Seeing that her and Peyton have split and that this really has caused that much of a push between them where they had to make the decision to go their separate ways, it is sad. And as a person, it breaks my heart. I think this gives us a good bird's eye view into what really goes on behind the scenes for people who are in the public eye. Gabbie Hanna is not the only one who deals with this stuff. All public figures deal with this. They just don't talk about it as much. Throughout all of this, the thing that's the most important is what happened to the Devins family. It's a good example of how this hate mob mentality and jumping onto a story can really affect another person's real life. For those of you who do not know about the Devins family and what happened with that situation, basically, Gabbie Hanna did a video, and within that video, she showed a photo of a girl who had been murdered. The video itself had nothing to do with this sweet girl, but it did start a conversation within the community. So many T channels picked up this story and started talking about it because, once again, it's another thing that makes Gabbie look extremely bad. So they picked it up, they talked about it, and they exploited the crap out of this poor girl and her family. We started receiving so many different hate messages and just was berated with so much ridicule, and they actually put out a video asking the T channels to please stop.
Didn't see anything wrong with what she did. She Googled e-girl and pulled up a picture of Bianca.
Simple mistake.
It was a simple mistake. There was nothing disrespectful about it. We didn't feel disrespected. We don't feel Bianca would have been disrespected. We think Bianca would have been honored and so excited that Gabbie Hanna pulled up her picture and was talking about her. Gave her a compliment. You know, they had the same shirt. No one should be offended. No one should be. All these drama channels that are using Bianca for clout, it's absolutely ridiculous because that's all you're doing.
We are offended about, and you guys also should be.
Yeah.
Not about Gabbie Hanna complimenting her shirt.
Yeah. Gabbie wasn't using Bianca for clout like all these drama channels now want to turn it into something that it's not. She didn't do anything wrong. And even though she didn't do anything wrong, because so many people were offended, she did reach out to me and Olivia and apologize. And we told her there's no reason for an apology because we don't see that you did anything wrong. So we think what you guys should be offended by is now other people want to bring about drama and use Bianca's death for clout. And these disgusting people that are exploiting my daughter's death for clout and likes and follows and profit.
In their opinion, they said Gabbie did nothing wrong. It was harmless what she done. It was an honest mistake that anyone could make. Even with that being said, Gabbie still apologized while all of these other T channels acted like nothing happened.
Is infuriating. All I did was scroll through an article on a YouTube video that happened to have a picture of a girl who was murdered. If I was this age, this would be me. 100% for sure. This outfit right here is straight up what I wore from 7th grade to college. And now. And now. I do have that shirt. That is what I did. That was my crime that I lost a fucking record deal over. That I lost sponsors over. That I lost hundreds of thousands of subscribers over, that I lost friends over, that I lost job opportunities over, that I lost months of my life over in a deep spiraling depression because this was such a heavy situation that you guys used, and I'm addressing the drama channels directly, you used the murder of a child to exploit me, and that is disgusting. You used me as a shield, accusing me of exploiting Bianca Devins' name, face, and story for money and clicks, when all I ever did was for a fraction of a fucking moment show her picture and say I liked her t-shirt. You, on the other hand, plastered her name and her face across your thumbnails and your titles and reduced her to a murder victim who Gabbie Hanna exploited by showing her picture? Having no knowledge of the situation that happened, and you gaslighting me into saying that I did know because I couldn't have possibly missed it because it was written right next to it, right? I didn't read the fucking article. I was looking at pictures, and you knew that, Angelica Oles. And everybody else who started that rumor and went with that story and exploited a murdered teenager to the point that her dead body, the photos of her dead body that were taken by her murderer and posted on the internet were being sent to her fucking mother and sister. You did that, not me. She has said that she was harmed by you, that you exploited her daughter. And you have not getting so much shit just from you guys talking about it and exploiting her in that way. I did the right thing. I went in silently and tried to hide it and blur it to calm people down over it quietly, because this should have never been news. Did you donate any of the money you made on those videos to the foundation that I have put out publicly, that I've called you to donate to? That's fine. Nobody can take your money from you. You earn that money, you do whatever you want. But you need to apologize to Bianca's mother. And I know that I will never get an apology from you for what you did to me, for gaslighting me, for making me the scapegoat to your disgusting exploitation. I know I will never get that, and that is okay.
A lot of them just kept on going with other stories and acted like this wasn't a big deal. But you guys, it is a big deal. This was a person's life, and it got exploited. Her murder got exploited. Her family had to relive all of that again, all for some drama, all for some tea about Gabbie Hanna, because people don't like Gabbie Hanna. There's plenty of things out there that we can pick to dislike Gabbie Hanna, but why did this poor family, why did the Devins family have to go through this for their gain? All these people got views and clicks and all of this stuff while they shared photos of this girl and just made this look like a horrible act on Gabbie. I'm sorry, but this is actually one thing I completely disagree with. It's not even in support of Gabbie. It's in support of the Devins family. They did not deserve this. And the fact that all of these channels exploited it to that extent and never apologized, never held themselves accountable for what they did and the part that they played in exploiting this family's daughter, sister, all of these things. It's absolutely horrible. The saddest part of all is even after she put this video out, there was a few drama channels that came on there in defense of themselves, saying that they did nothing wrong, that Gabbie's the one that's in the wrong, blah, 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 blah. This actually has absolutely nothing to do with Gabbie Hanna, period. It's really disappointing to me as a tea channel myself that this is the way that a lot of these tea channels have responded in defense. You know, we're sitting here and constantly talking about other people who need to hold themselves accountable and calling people out for the things that they do wrong and all this drama, all this tea, and yet you can't even hold yourself accountable. That is a problem. Set aside your feelings for Gabbie. Set aside everything else. This was absolutely wrong, and for people to not see that and disagree is just, you need to get your head checked. A lot of these channels that have already responded didn't even watch Gabbie's video. They just went off on a tangent, you know, defending themselves. They seen the title and they was like, oh no, she ain't gonna come after me. And they made this defenseful video without even watching the context within. And that is the biggest problem. There's so much hate and so much ridicule for Gabbie that a lot of people take other people's words for stuff. They don't want to watch her videos anymore because of her crazy behavior, her questionable, you know, actions, things like that. And so they'll go watch a tea channel or go watch someone else that they really enjoy, and they're only getting half truths, if any truths at all, instead of watching Gabbie's video in general with an open mind and actually seeing that some of the stuff she's putting out is actually right, you guys. She's not wrong about everything. She has made some really good points within this series, and it's sad that a lot of people are not even giving it the time of day or going into this with an open mind because they cannot put aside their feelings for Gabbie. A lot of this series isn't even about Gabbie herself. It is giving us the answers to our why. Why did Gabbie do this? The things that we couldn't understand, Gabbie's giving us the answers to it. You don't have to like Gabbie or the Gabbie show or whatever. You don't have to like her. You can have your opinions and your thoughts on everything to do with her, but to exploit things like this and to be so tone deaf, that's a problem. And that's not a problem with Gabbie. That is a problem with you. For the channels that haven't done that yet, I really hope that they do, even if they just personally reach out to the family. But I do want to take a moment to acknowledge Ready to Glare, because at this point, she is the only drama channel or channel that I have seen apologize and really genuinely mean it. Her apology was extremely genuine, and I love the way that she put everything out there. I will leave it in the description below. If you guys want to go check it out for yourself, go show her some love and support, because it does take a lot to be able to sit down and admit your wrongs. But hey, once again, we're all human. We all make mistakes. just admit to them. Hold yourself accountable. Don't make others hold you accountable. That is the end of this one, you guys. I am sure that I will be making more Gabbie Hanna videos, especially on this series, because I am going to watch the whole thing with an open mind. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I love hearing what you guys have to say, even when you disagree with me. Like this video and you want more content like this, please consider hitting the like button, subscribing before you go, and tapping the bell for post notifications. That way you are notified every single time I upload. I appreciate you guys to the moon and stars, and until the next time,